Gobble, gobble.
Gobble, gobble. Hi, Brian.
Hi, Glennis. Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving. What are your plans?
I am in Ohio celebrating with my family and hanging out with my nephews. What are your Thanksgiving plans?
Upstate, baby. What do you make? Slash, what is your favorite dish?
So mashed potatoes, definitely fave. My go-to to actually make would be like a green bean casserole.
I'm a big sides gal.
Yeah.
I love potatoes. I make the pumpkin pie.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Well, we have a special episode today for our Vibies, and that is to prepare you for your Thanksgiving dinner table talk with your relatives, particularly if those relatives are some MAGA nuts.
I think you might have some tension at your table given your boomer comments that have gone slightly viral online.
Not honestly, my parents are same page and they're down with that entire energy.
Yeah, same.
But I do have family, both immediate and extended, that things get heated sometimes.
Well, let's get into it. Let's talk about it.
So I feel like we just want to prepare people for the things that they might hear from a relative, and we're going to provide some commentary and thoughts on how you could respond. Some people are aching for the fight and they're ready for it, and some people really don't want to have the conversation, and especially if you're the only one in your family. So regardless of where you fall on that spectrum, I think we just want to provide some talking points and help streamline your thoughts into a coherent narrative on some of the biggest topics that might come up.
Yeah, and worst case scenario, you can just have your family who disagrees with you listen to the pod.
Let's start out with immigration. Ooh. Of all of the crazy things that Trump has done, I think that immigration is one of the most heated debates going on around what the country should be doing. And I expect that lots of people will have friction over the subject of immigration. If somebody were to say at your table, this is great, we're finally getting illegals out of the country, how would you respond to that?
I would say, is it great, Jan? Is it that we are stripping people out of their cars and away from their families, hardworking people who are doing jobs that millions of Americans don't want to do? And what I would do, and what we'll do right now, so you have it, is I would provide them the stat on how many people who have actually been abducted who have a criminal record. Because we can't forget, all of this was to get crime off the street. And this is just not the case. They are recklessly pulling people from their homes, their vehicles, their churches, their daycares, their schools. And I would really appeal to the human side of my family.
Yeah, I think wherever you can, find agreement first. Start in a place of common ground, and that's exactly where I would go as well. It's like step one, we can both agree if someone is convicted of murder or sexual assault, that person should be deported. And I think probably there's widespread agreement on that.
Correct.
That's like a pretty basic thing. So anchor there. Trump said he would deport criminals. Is that what's happening? Let's talk about it. If you look at the numbers, I'll specifically reference North Carolina from the most recent ICE raids. 70% of the arrests in North Carolina are people who do not have a criminal record. It is not lining up with what Trump said was going to be true. And so even if someone's in support of that goal, I think it's easy to highlight lots of statistics that show actually like 67% nationally of the people being deported have never been convicted of any crime. In addition, if you can sort of get agreement there or some basic understanding around who is actually being deported, then you can make it more about what's the cost of deporting the other 30%. So we are deporting, right, 30% of people who have some sort of criminal conviction. What has been the cost of that so far? Well, the Fourth Amendment against illegal search and seizure is basically gone. We have masked men running around the country with no identification, snatching people out of their homes, out of their cars, out of their place of work, out of their place of worship. U.S. citizens en masse being swept up
Yeah.
into that. I was looking up statistics on it today. We're not even talking about dozens. We're talking about hundreds of US citizens being arrested.
Yeah.
At least dozens. There's no hard numbers because there's no transparency in what's happening.
None.
But at least dozens have been deported. For me, it's about posing it as the trade-off. Is it worth it for you as an individual, not somebody else's rights, for you to lose the rights that you have against the government coming and kicking your door down and arresting you without a warrant, without cause, and without explanation? Is it worth giving that up in order to deport maybe 30% of people who have a criminal conviction? Is there another path that Trump could have taken that didn't tear up the Constitution on day one in order to make a political point?
And I think your family would say, you got me there, Brian.
I don't know if they're going to say that, but I
Yeah.
think that you can make them think, right? The goal shouldn't be to win. The goal shouldn't be to convince someone that they're wrong.
Right.
I think the goal is to present a factual and an argument that they can hear.
Totally.
Because in my experience, if I anchor in like maybe what motivates me of these people are from war-torn countries and horrible circumstances. They were their lives were threatened, their homes were taken. That doesn't resonate, honestly, with a lot of other people. They might see the world differently and hold different values. And I like to meet people where they are, right? They care about themselves and they care about their own freedoms. So how can we make this argument in a way that makes it clear how this impacts their rights and their freedoms? Because it does.
It does, yeah.
And so maybe not focusing on like how desperate mothers are with babies in their arms at the border, which I think moves a lot of liberals, right?
Right.
And focusing more on what are the impacts to the Constitution?
Your freedoms.
Exactly.
Yeah.
When we allow masked men to snatch people off the street without explanation in order to advance a goal that is not actually being achieved.
Correct. Everyone, that is your one-liner. Write that down. Truly. What's the next one?
Here's what I think a lot of people are going to say. I think a lot of your MAGA family is going to get to the table and be like, yes, Trump has saved the economy. Trump turned around the economy after Biden crashed the country, and now America is in a boom and is going to re-enter this golden era of prosperity.
Now, does this family have a 401k? Because, you know, we've talked about this repeatedly on the pod, that Trump talks about this booming economy, which is only applicable to those who actually are in the stock market, which if you have a 401k or any sort of retirement plan, you are in the stock market. The stock market has done well. There's no denying that.
Very well. And I'm glad.
Does that mean that kitchen table economics are doing well? No.
The S&P 500 is up about 15% for the year, which is huge,
That's
right?
huge.
If you have cash in the market, you're doing great. How else would you define the economy? When we say the economy is doing well, what are the metrics that you're thinking of?
Consumer spending.
Yep.
Cost of groceries.
Yep.
Cost of gas.
Yep.
I think being someone who learns visually, the theatrics of sitting down at a Thanksgiving meal, it's a very tangible subject to talk about. Was the cost markedly higher, lower, the same?
Yep.
How much did it cost you to get here today?
Yep.
Any things that you didn't buy or do because of tariffs?
Yep.
That's kind of the ecosystem that I would operate in.
Okay, so I would consider parts of that inflation, right? When we think about cost of groceries, cost of gas and energy, we're thinking about inflation. When we're thinking about consumer spending, I think that's both a reflection of prices and earning, like how much money you have to spend and feel like you have to spend. Unemployment is I think really important metric around how the economy is doing. And I think jobs and job growth in general, which is related but different.
Okay.
On those three issues, inflation, unemployment, and new jobs, Trump is bombing. It's actually going very poorly. So first on the jobs front, employers added 27,000 jobs a month between May and August. Compare that to 168,000 a month in the last year of Biden's presidency. So we went from 168,000 a month to 27,000 a month. That is not growth.
No.
I don't know if people can do math there.
That's like one football stadium,
The
or
res-
like a half of one football stadium.
The result of that is that workers see a 45% chance of finding a new job within a year
A year.
if they lose their job. People feel that if they lose their job right now, there's like basically a 50-50 shot, under a 50-50 shot, that they'll be able to find another job within a year.
Yeah.
That's bad.
That's really bad. Not to mention, which I don't know if we'll get into, the AI of it all.
100%.
Yeah.
We have to. I think that definitely is part of the economy. But the same way that the pandemic fucked over Biden in lots of ways, AI is the reality of the situation. And that's what we need the president to be able to deal with and have a plan for.
Yeah.
His plan has been to gas up AI companies over everything and refuse to allow any type of regulation that could support people. At the same time, 38% of CEOs plan to cut their employment over the next 6 months.
Yeah.
So you have 40% of companies saying that they're planning cuts. We're headed in a bad direction. We're in the bad place.
Yeah.
Okay, so job growth, bad. Unemployment is up. It's like a very easy metric to track, and we've seen unemployment ticking up.
Yeah.
Manufacturing jobs, which Trump said he was going to bring back, he's lost a total of 60,000 since he announced the tariff. 60,000 manufacturing jobs lost in the country overall.
Let's talk about the waste, fraud, and abuse vertical of the Donald Trump administration.
Republicans, it act like they learned a new word, like they had a word of the month and it was waste, fraud, and abuse, and they can't stop saying it all year long.
Yeah.
But saying something 1,000 times doesn't make it true. But they really do believe, and the MAGA movement has bought into this idea that Trump and Doge this year have cut out all of this waste, fraud, and abuse from government.
When in reality, we know what's actually happening, which is the Trump administration has personally enriched Donald Trump and his family by at least double in their net worth, which is in the billions, not millions, billions. We talked about this last week on the pod, your Kerry Homeland moment of connecting the Trump business deals with diplomatic deals. That is abuse at its finest, corruption at its finest. And we also talked about this last week on the pod, and I think it's worth mentioning again. And I think it's something that will really hit home at Thanksgiving tables today, which is the shutdown of USAID and how many people who have died because of that direct action by Elon Musk and Doge to shut down USAID. 600,000 people, 3/4 of which are children.
Yeah. The amount of waste, fraud, and abuse that's been injected into government this year has been unparalleled. It has been a trademark, a hallmark of the administration from day one. On Inauguration Day, I posted, "Welcome to the most corrupt administration in the history of the country," and they have proven that to be correct every single day. And we knew that from day one because before Trump got into office, about 72 hours before, he launched the first part of his crypto scheme. Remember, that was the original Trump coin and Melania coin,
Right.
where they were like defrauding millions and millions of people out of money in order to make money for their family. It's easy to go into any one lane, right? On the waste side, we can talk about Trump spending, I think it's around $1 billion to retrofit a new Air Force One that's going to end up being just for his presidential library. We could talk about what's happening to the White House and spending hundreds of millions of dollars on a ballroom. We could talk about the $450,000 it costs per day for the National Guard to be deployed in all of these various cities, which again has been mostly performative.
Cost of deportations.
We could talk about not just the cost of deportations, but doing it in the most expensive way possible, where they're like the military flights that they're using, sometimes costing like $70,000+ per person to deport someone.
The private jets for Kristi Noem.
The private jets and for Kristi Noem and Kash Patel.
What about the abuse? What about the bribes?
Trump has set up this bribery scheme where companies are paying either into his political operation or into his personal family business millions of dollars in exchange for changes to U.S. policy. And so a couple quick examples here that you can remember for the dinner table. Intuit, the company that we all pay to do our fucking taxes for us, put $1 million into his fund, and then the Trump administration ended direct file. So we can no longer directly file our taxes with the government. We have to go through one of these companies.
For free.
Right, which was free. Right. It was like a existential threat to TurboTax and Intuit's business.
It is insane that we have to pay someone
hundreds of dollars
to file our taxes to pay the government.
Crazy. Apple also put money into that fund and then got him that little gold trinket.
So embarrassing.
So embarrassing. Tim Cook in the Oval Office, you'll remember, they got a tariff exemption when they did that. Coinbase did the same thing, put millions of dollars into this fund, and then Trump administration ended the lawsuit. Airlines put all this money in, and then Trump rescinded the policy that they have to refund you when they cancel your flight. Banks put all this money in, and then the Trump administration rescinded the policy where they were going to cap overdraft fees from the Biden era. So it's all of this tit for tat stuff that's all tit for them.
Yeah.
and tat for Trump. And there's no tit or tat coming to the American people.
To the working people of America.
Right. And then I will also say on the concept of waste, fraud, and abuse, K Street, which is what we call the lobbying business of DC, because a lot of them are actually headquartered on K Street in DC.
Which is just a stone's throw away from the White House.
Is having their biggest year ever. There's never been more money spent on lobbying than there has been in this year of the Trump administration, because it is so evident that as long as you pay off the right people who know somebody who can get that thing in front of Trump at Mar-a-Lago, then your policy will become law. Then he will sign whatever executive order, he will rescind whatever policy needed, and issue pardons to whoever pays the most for lobbyists and into his personal accounts. It is so blatant. And the administration has continually pointed to how transparent they are with the corruption as a rationale for it not to be a concern. But in reality, I think that people are pretty disgusted by the bribery that's happening in the light of day.
Yeah, when they see a man that Trump pardoned and then went on 60 Minutes to say, I don't know who he is, who laundered money via crypto to Al-Qaeda.
Right. Waste, fraud, and abuse has saved pennies from cutting programs that prevent the government from doing its core functions, right? Like Doge came in, eliminated entire functions of the government. There is no longer an agency looking out for consumers. That's gone. That doesn't exist anymore, in order to save a handful of pennies in the overall budget and really just reallocate those to paying off Trump's friends and defense contractors, because they've increased the deficit. They've increased the national debt. It's not like we're saving money. We're going faster into debt in order to have no government services. Make it make sense.
Make it make sense. And again, the Elon Musk of it all coming in and just bulldozing our soft power and a lot of things that actually help people. Cut to last week, and he gets his pay package from the board that will make him the first trillionaire on planet Earth. Two other things that you might hear at your dinner table as people try to save face for Donald Trump after you annihilate him with all of these arguments. So now we're on to the desserts.
Yeah, right.
We are like, we've made so many good points.
You're steamrolling. Your MAGA uncle is now blue-haired at the dinner table. And they might say, well, Trump only cut SNAP or Medicaid for people who don't need the program. And I went and pulled some stats for you, maybe that you can remember one or two of, in order to demonstrate why these programs are important, because we have talked about them all year long. Anyone who's even a little tuned in has heard about Medicaid cuts and SNAP. I pulled a single state as a representative sort of sample. And when it comes to people on SNAP, In the state of Alabama, just to give one example, 22% of children are living below the poverty line. So I think establishing first that there's like a economic and affordability crisis, which is probably something that you can agree upon with your MAGA family, that there are actually people who do need government assistance, should be a baseline that we can all agree on, no matter where we want to draw that line. 83% of SNAP recipients are at or below the poverty line. So it's not like people are getting SNAP benefits with their 3-car garages, as it seems like people want people to believe. And it's not an attractive program to someone living in that situation. The average benefit is $192 per month. How much do you spend at Trader Joe's when you go?
I go a couple times a month to buy groceries, and it's usually $100 or more.
Yeah, right. I spend about like $115 every time I go to Trader Joe's to eat for one person. $192 per month is not someone living large off the system.
Eating like a sirloin steak every night.
It's preposterous. And that is why there's also this weird argument that follows around people shouldn't be allowed to buy this or that on Snap.
That is so
crazy. Because they're trying to make $192 a month feed themselves or the family, or their family for a month. Of course you're going to buy whatever the cheapest possible thing is. So it's a really ridiculous argument that's divorced from reality to think that people are somehow getting rich off of Snap. But all of that said and done, Trump maybe eliminated the Fourth Amendment and has violated all of our rights. Maybe Trump's made everything more expensive intentionally and shipped jobs overseas. Maybe Trump has cut all of the programs that we fundamentally rely on in order for our society to function here at home. But he has ended the forever wars.
The peacetime president.
Yes.
Donald Trump.
The deal maker.
The deal maker who just this week is pushing Ukraine to agree to a deal that they had nothing to do with. They were not at the table.
Yeah, the two big ones, Ukraine and Israel. He said he would end both wars on day one. And I don't think anyone really believed that or was ever going to try and hold him to that. Israel, we've talked about on the podcast.
Yes.
If you want our opinions about it, go back and listen to the episode. We don't have to hash it all out again. We can be as generous as humanly possible today and give Trump some inkling of credit for the current peace deal in Israel. Whatever.
Ceasefire. Not even peace deal.
Right.
Ceasefire.
Ukraine, as you said, his plan changes based on who he talked to last. And he's like flip-flopped wildly. He's tried to give Ukraine long-range missiles to target Moscow and stuff. And then he's then talked to Putin and is like, oh no, Ukraine should give up all their territory and shut up. So super unclear what's going to happen there. There might even be news by the time you guys hear this.
Yeah.
Those two aside, Trump has done his best to start conflicts all over the world.
All over the world. The most prominent being Venezuela and moving the USS Gerald Ford, which is our largest aircraft carrier, off the shores of Venezuela. Yeah. Which is intimidation at its finest.
The administration is talking about boots on the ground in Venezuela.
He's also openly talked about, which I do not understand, deploying the CIA to do covert action in Venezuela. Why are my taxpayer dollars spending for announced covert action?
I know. Imagine you're like in Venezuela, you're breaking into the compound, you're like in the Capitol, and then you hear on the radio, CIA agents are rolling deep in Venezuela. Yeah. Like just like kind of putting you on blast. Trump struck Iran, which luckily didn't lead to another war, but
easily could have. Yeah.
Right? Like we could be at another war, and there could be other consequences that have already happened that we don't know about, or that could happen in the coming months. Who knows?
They tried to.
And then there's the war on drug cartels. The Trump administration has murdered dozens of people in Latin America.
And I say boats.
Murdered because they don't know who they are or what they were doing. There's no any sort of legal order for them to be able to do that. And we'll never know. So Trump is talking about military action in Mexico. against the cartels.
He's calling them narco-terrorists is
Right.
his new labeling.
And again, we can debate the merits of each one of these interventions individually, but the point is Trump ran on non-interventionists ending wars and has continually started new military conflicts in every hemisphere of the globe. And so I think it's fair to point out to your family that the US has actually been drawn deeper into many of these conflicts while we cede all of our soft power and involvement in places that are not in an armed conflict to China.
And there you have it, folks. There you have it. We have the Keith Edwards.
Yes.
LOL. So what we're doing today is we're doing a special vibes episode.
Because it's Thanksgiving.
It's Thanksgiving today. Happy Thanksgiving.
Do you like Thanksgiving?
I love Thanksgiving.
I do too.
Okay.
Because
Question mark?
it's the only one where it's like not corporatized.
Right.
You know, it's
yeah.
literally about the thing it's about,
Yeah.
which is figuring out people you love
Yeah.
you
and
know?
giving thanks.
and giving thanks.
And that's what we're trying to do for our listeners today is to kind of go through a cheat sheet of sorts of like, how do you talk to any conservative members of your family or MAGA members of your family when they're like, immigration is great, or, you know, whatever the thing is.
Here's how I feel: is if Zoran Mamdani can get along with Donald Trump for 2 hours in the White House, you can talk to your racist uncle and say, "I love you."
When I watched that, I was like, huh, is world peace possible?
I mean, listen, this is what con men do.
Yeah.
They make you feel good
Yeah,
occasionally.
exactly.
And I did feel good.
Yeah.
But we got to put it in perspective.
I know.
This is Donald Trump.
I know. What are you doing today? What's your Thanksgiving plan?
I will be in Connecticut
Nice.
visiting my dad.
Are you ready? Or do you feel equipped? Do you guys talk politics at the table?
I talk politics. My parents are MAGA.
Well, yes. I didn't want to out them as
No,
MAGA. But
I talk about them all the time.
Yeah.
They're MAGA.
so, do you have a cheat sheet for yourself? Like, what would you say? Like, what
You
do you
gotta
say?
listen.
Yeah.
Actually, the superpower to getting people to see your side of things is to listen and to say, "Oh, I can see why you see it like that," and maybe even just give an inch.
What else is like in your arsenal to talk about?
The Epstein stuff.
Oh, we didn't even have that on our list. Tell me, what are you thinking?
My mom is beside herself about Epstein. She doesn't understand it. I mean, I think we all understand it.
Yeah.
But she doesn't understand it. It's a big opening, you know?
What's not to understand?
Well, she really thinks that, or thought that Donald Trump was going to get in there and expose the elites. That hasn't happened yet. Now, it might be a little tricky because he did sign that thing saying that it can all. It's kind of like a gray area now.
Yeah.
Because it's not out, but he could have put the files out immediately.
Yeah, without
But
all
he
of
didn't.
this rigmarole.
But if anyone has ever acted more guilty in their entire life around anything, it's this.
Right. Do you think billionaires will be a topic of conversation in Connecticut?
I should bring that up. I don't know.
Yeah.
I can't fucking stand them, to be
Yeah.
honest. I mean, I'm sure there's good ones.
Yeah. There are, I guess, right? But it's like, in what world, why do we live in a society where we're reliant on billionaires to be truly philanthropic with their dollars to affect society in a good way? Why don't we just tax them fairly?
I think there's this overwhelming feeling that the system is rigged. It's not rigged for you and me. It's rigged for the billionaires and corporations. And I think the left and the right, working class, I think most people would say that's true.
Yeah, for sure. For
You know?
sure. It is rigged. Is there any topic you're dreading talking about?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm pretty, I'm like a ninja with this stuff, I think, now.
Well,
You know,
yeah.
I talk about it all the time.
Yeah, all day, every day.
But I would say if you're listening to this, if you don't feel compelled to talk about politics with your family,
Yeah.
I think one of the better things you can do too is just try to love them, even if you don't agree with them. I think the way that Donald Trump wins and the authoritarian movement is when we stay divided. And so, like, I don't agree with anything my parents believe politically,
Yeah.
but I love them intensely.
Yeah.
And I do think that occasionally I have small wins with them. And occasionally they will say things that I'm like, oh, yeah, I kind of see your point on that.
Mm-hmm.
And again, if Zoran Mamdani and Donald Trump can bro out in the Oval Office, give your mom a hug.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Just give your mom a hug.
Yeah.
She wants a hug.
Yeah. I mean, I don't even know what else to say to that. World peace, baby.
Do you have like, I think your parents are like politically aligned, right?
Yeah, they're aligned. Yeah. I was very fortunate that I grew up in a household that fully understood the liberal ideologies. And
You agree on everything?
on everything is a great question. I think it's less about agreement, it's more about perspective. So my parents are boomers, and you had that meme that went viral 2 years ago that I think has like 1 billion views at this point,
right.
and it's like the boomers dancing because they bought their house for 4 raspberries and were trying to afford health insurance. So I think we talk about this on the pod all the time. It's like when you're talking about politics and you're talking about candidates and the connection of the lived experience, right? And my parents do everything they can in their power to understand like what it's like. So it's not about agreement, it's more about perspective. But we have those conversations openly.
I feel like that's not as fun. Like it's fun to like have a difference of opinion. It's not as fun anymore.
Yeah.
But it's nice to I think it's nice to have like healthy debates.
I agree. I agree. But I think our table's usually pretty chill.
So you're just talking about like, I don't know. You don't really talk about politics then, right? Because you all agree.
Not much.
Or you're just complaining.
Or talking about who the candidates are going to be, what the future looks like.
I feel like he's not going to run.
Trump?
Yeah, for a third term.
No, he is happy as Larry. He made $5 billion in a year alone. His entire family is deeply enriched. As we saw with the White House meeting with Mayor-elect Mamdani, he loves a winner, baby.
I bet you that's something you could agree with your family on, is he shouldn't run for a third term.
Yeah.
I think everyone agrees with that,
I think so. Keith, thank you so much for popping into the studio on Thanksgiving of all days.
Ding dong.
Vibes, people, if you don't already follow Keith on all platforms, you should, especially YouTube. Your YouTube growth has been phenomenal. It's so impressive. You work so hard and you have so many takes. It's amazing. And you're really funny.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Like we will talk about Usha's Vance not wearing her ring. We'll talk about it.
Oh yeah. What did I call you? A gossip rag?
Yeah. The other YouTubers can talk about the high-minded stuff, and we do too, but we'll go down into the dirt.
As we should.
It's fun. It's fun down here. Come.
It's fun to play in the dirt a little bit.
Yes.
So we'll see you there on YouTube.
Yes. Bye.
So that was Keith. So nice to have him on the pod. He just literally happened to stop by the studio. Little surprise treat, sweet treat for Thanksgiving. And yeah, totally agree. He's making some good points about finding community with your family and being willing to listen. So we're going to definitely listen to our friends and family at the Thanksgiving table, but we're also going to try and potentially change hearts and minds.
The goal here is not to win the dinner table, but it's certainly to have some backup. And we hope that we can be your backup at the dinner table so that if you want to voice your opinions, you feel like you have a way to do that and can make sure that nobody's feeling too comfortable while they sit in their MAGA sphere, which is totally what? Divorced from reality.
Divorced from reality. Brian, I have to ask before we go, what time do you eat your Thanksgiving meal?
Ooh, it depends on how we're cooking the turkey that year because it changes. But we have 2 giant turkeys typically. It's the Midwest. So you're half cooking for the day and you're half cooking so everyone can eat for the next week.
Right, okay.
And I'm going to aim for like 4 p.m. Yeah.
Okay.
What time do you eat?
This year, the cousins, like the next gen, are taking over all of the cooking. So honestly, ...
Depends on how much you drink.
Yeah, I ordered a case of wine that made it through the tariffs. It was sitting in the tariffs for a month. I was in Sicily and I sent a case home for Thanksgiving.
That's so nice.
That was my cooking.
Yeah, there you go.
So hopefully 4 is when we'll eat.
I know people do like 1 p.m.
I'm
or
not
2
hungry
p.m.
enough
And I'm
yet.
like, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
You can serve whatever you want at 1 p.m. It's not dinner.
Yeah.
Thank you guys so much for listening. We hope you have an amazing holiday that is filled with family and friends and maybe a little bit of political debate.
Pragmatic debates. And we'll end with a good vibe goodbye. Brian, what are you thankful for?
Ooh, this year I'm thankful for Democrats' 14-point lead on the generic ballot heading into the 2026 midterms. What are you thankful for?
I am thankful for the energy post the November elections that we're seeing. The people are showing up to vote, and people are ignited and inspired to engage in active resistance against the Trump administration.
I love it. Have a happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
Yeehaw! Vibes Only is a production of Vibes Only the Podcast, LLC, produced by us, Glennis Mahar and
Brian Derrick.
with audio producer Baze Hohen and digital producer Maddie Hart. We want to hear from you. Send us voice notes, drop a comment, and if you're vibing with the pod, share it with your friends. Don't forget to like, follow, and subscribe wherever you get your podcast. We'll see you next week.
See ya.